That was irrelevant. Well, it's my absolute joy to get to talk to you this morning. We're continuing our theme about running the race and the idea of training more. I also get to speak to Evangeline and her family who've come today. It's wonderful to have you with us. Now, last week, Victoria spoke to us about fixing our eyes on Jesus. This idea of running the race is journeying through life, but fixing our eyes on Jesus. And she had some questions. And I hope that you had some good chats around those. And I'll have a few more for you today. But this idea of stretching yourself. I showed you a video this morning about St. Paul and just basically his amazing journey. Just to give you a bit of a backdrop of what Paul had been through. First of all, he hated Christians. He went around trying to kill them, get rid of them. Then he had an experience of Jesus that was so big that not only did he change his name from Saul to Paul, but he went on to write nearly half of our New Testament in the Bible, writing letters. And he sent those letters from being in prison, from times when he was shipwrecked. And actually, he pushed himself so much that in the back of some Bibles, you can see a map of the Mediterranean. It shows you where he stretched himself, where he traveled all around, sharing the good news of Jesus. And that just got us thinking, what does it mean for us to stretch ourselves? To journey out, to go further than maybe we think we're able to? In the face of things that might be really difficult, but actually we know is for the common good. To know Jesus. When I was trained to be a vicar, I had the opportunity to go to Durham, and it was wonderful. And they had this tiny little gym, and you weren't allowed to go in on your own, so you had to be at least two of you, and you weren't allowed more than 4 people in there because it was so small and ridiculous. And obviously, I'm slightly broad, maybe a bit round sometimes, but that's fine. And I thought, well, there isn't much room for a treadmill, so I got into weights. I really got into weights, and I overheard them saying when we were getting changed, Ben's like a silverback gorilla. And I thought, flipping heck, a silverback gorilla, they are massive. And I said, I heard that. And they said, well, it's more of the noises you make. Sounds a bit awkward, but the fact is, you lift weights, you stretch yourself, and as you take just a simple little one, I'm going to get a professional to show you how to do it, but I couldn't get him booked. But basically, as you lift up the weight, you stretch and strain those muscles. I'm going to have a massive right arm tomorrow. And what happened is you slowly tear and break down the muscle, but then it repairs and gets bigger, it gets stronger. And that's what happens when we find ourselves sharing about Jesus. This opportunity to go out stretching ourselves and maybe being surprised at what the outcome is. What I love about lifting weights is you have to start somewhere. You have to start with a small amount of weights, but you don't just go in and lift something massive. I'm not telling you to kind of organize a conference on Lincolnshire Showground and share your testimony. You can if you want. But it's those conversations with people you might find at school, at work, wherever you may be. Sharing your story of Jesus. Evangeline this morning is starting her own faith, her own journey with a family and godparents. And as she grows up, she'll be following Jesus, but supported by them. That's why the family, the godparents, come up on stage. But also all of us have said we will support Evangeline. As a church, we said together, be vigilant, go for it, be with God, we support you. You see, Paul experienced Jesus, changed his name, and he followed him, stretched himself, sharing his story of Jesus and preaching the good news that everyone is loved by Jesus and welcome to follow him. Another growth story. When I was training to be a vicar, I did actually train, that's why I'm here now. But when I was back doing weights, I remember that you get to a point where you need somebody called a spotter. Someone who is going to watch you and make sure you're not going to hurt yourself with the weights. And I still have a very lovely friend called Nathaniel. And I'll never forget the look in his eyes when suddenly I realized, I don't think I'm going to be able to push this weight back up. And I thought he was going to cry. Then I realized he was actually just dripping into my face, sweat, because he said, Ben, there is no way I can lift this. Never felt fear like it or since. But the fact is, we are there to support each other. We're there to be the spotters for each other. When the weight feels too heavy, we come alongside each other and help lift it up. And just like when you are training, there will be times when you push yourself and you think, maybe this is too far. But it's not a solo mission. We have people with us. Just to close, I know it's hilarious. Thank you, Evangeline. It wasn't a joke, but thank you. Those of you who've been watching the Olympics, nobody, brilliant. One, thank you, Olivia. What I find fascinating, thank you. What I find fascinating is that no matter whether it's a team sport or a solo sport, a single athlete, they are surrounded by people in the background. When they win their medals, when they're interviewed, some of them just say, I heard one interview that said, I don't want to start thanking people because I'm scared I'll miss someone. And that's what it's like as a church. We don't go around saying, well, I go to St. Swithin's and I'm supported by X, Y, and Z. It's all of us together, all our prayers together. We might feel like we're on our own on that track, but there are others with us. So I've got 3 questions for you to just ponder. That might pop up. There's just 3. And the first one is, where do you want to be next? Where do you want to be stretching that muscle so it will break down, yes, but build up and be stronger? But also, the second question is, who are your spotters? Who are journeying with you to help you, to encourage you, maybe sometimes to challenge you? And then the third one, you're breaking down muscle because you're pushing yourself. Who would you like to invite on your journey, on the journey of faith to know Jesus? So can I invite you to stand?